I think he must have heard us talking about the dip in form and he answers with that. What a lovely and a beautifully constructed break as well, Stevie.
Yes, it was, and 200 quid for Haven House. I suppose it didn't look on.
Yeah.
And actually, on that point, not to be bitter and twisted about the fact I'm not in the event, and obviously I didn't make any 100 breaks, but the century breaks are going to sort of be broken, perhaps, I think, this year, or very close to it. And there is a sort of direct correlation between the size of the pockets, and we're talking fractional differences, and what we've seen over the years of how they've gone. Sometimes we've had very tight pockets at the World Championship, been a drop in century breaks. Just a fraction of a difference makes all the difference down the cushions.
When you talk about a fraction of a difference, what sort of size is a fraction when it comes to a pocket, Kenny?
But
you're talking millimetres.
Yeah, but I think after the first couple of days played, there was a few of the players were complaining about bounces, and particularly with the weather as well, it may have had an effect on some of the conditions of the tables. But the tables have been reclotted, which means like they slide along those top cushions. You will see the balls will slide in. I mean, you see them rattle a little bit, particularly along the back cushion behind the black. Players are dropping them in, and you might see them wobble a little bit. And because they're new cloths, they'll always drop. When the cloth gets a bit worn, it has about 2 or 3 days play. They'll tighten up and they'll square up a little bit.
But actually, I was talking to Stephen Hendry in the players' room earlier today, and he said that he knows that this is a new batch of tables that have been made, and he thinks they're slightly easier, just generally the size of the pockets, than the last batch, and a new manufacturer making them for Star. Sort of sourcing them. So I don't know exactly the whole thing, but it's something that's always been apparent that you have to keep on top of to make sure it's exactly right, because of course on television, from the pocket angle, from the camera angle, sometimes they all look quite easy going in because you're not standing behind the shot, you're seeing it from behind. But actually if they become too easy in the eyes of the public, strangely enough, you think, oh, well, it's not fair. They're making the tables easier for the pros than they are for the club tables, which isn't the case at all. OK,
but if you were to put one of these tables into a club and ask people who are just picking up a cue to go and play them, it would make a blind bit of difference, would it?
No, not much, no. For a couple of weeks, the cloth's good, but then after that, they get ridiculously tight. OK, right. I think we've cracked that one. Should we go back to the last frame? We've only got a few minutes on this one because we've got to go soon, but let's see what happens in the early stages of this, the last frame of the session for these guys.
I was just thinking, John, if they put these tables in clubs, there would be very few frames finished because they are much tighter than a club table.
You'd run out of 10-pence pieces with a metre. Meanwhile, that was a pretty awful break, and Joe's got a chance here.
I don't think he's got the angle just to roll this in and finish on the black. That's what the problem is. He's got a little bit of work to do with the cue ball to get good position here. Oh, that's unlucky. He's got the pink, but it's awkward. He tried to use the side of the pack. It wasn't a natural angle to drop on the black. It wasn't a bad choice of shot. Probably just hit it a little bit too hard. This pink is tough, and it looks as if he's going to take it on. That was tough.
Joe Perry won.
I think that last frame where he made a century gave him a bit of confidence, but there's always a bit of pressure on that shot when you're 10-5 behind. The black must be tied up because what Stephen's looking at is potting this red and trying to move the black. That's if it doesn't pot. If it pots, you might be able to hold it.
This problem for me it is, can he avoid the cannon on the red to the right of it? So it looks like he might be playing a different type of shot. Yep, decided it wasn't on, so
one.
Sensibly played round the angles. Basically guaranteed himself he'd be on a colour there.
this match will finish tomorrow morning, and Stephen Maguire would love to go to bed tonight knowing he just needs 2 more frames tomorrow.
Six.
Not an easy chance just yet, but he's in the balls. He's got a little bit of work to do, but they're not sitting ideally.
7.
With Stephen pondering his options.